Hey my friends here on YouTube and in the reptile community, welcome back to another episode today. So I'm Dylan, you're watching my channel Prehistoric Companions. So I strive to take the very best care of all the creatures in my collection and give them the appropriate diet, the appropriate housing, and everything they need to feel happy and healthy. But lately I've been having a lot of issues with my bearded dragons in particularly. I recently took my male bearded dragon to the vet and discovered that he has an abnormal amount of bacteria and parasites in his gut, which would explain why he has loss of appetite, doesn't want to move around too much, even though he is maintaining a healthy weight. He looks good physically, his colors are good, his body proportions, he's not overweight, he's not underweight. So we'll talk a little bit about that, what I'm doing to take care of that problem. Once bearded dragons start getting up there in age, he's about 10 years old. Once they start getting up in age, especially, you want to take them to the vet a little more regularly, maybe every 6 months, to get a fecal done to see if there is an abnormal amount of parasitic growth. There is a healthy level to promote good digestion, but an excess of that gut bacteria is not good. I also had a female bearded dragon who sadly passed away recently, and I want to talk a little bit more about that. I found out some more information as to what exactly happened to her. I went and got a necropsy done. A necropsy is kind of like an autopsy, but for animals. And the vet determined that she definitely did have cancer. So it wasn't necessarily anything that I was doing in my care on my part. I made sure that I was providing her the right heating, the right lighting, changing out the UVB lights regularly, keeping their environment clean, consistently cleaning, at least deep cleaning once a week with veterinary grade cleaner. I use chlorhexidine. You could also use F10 or bleach water. Just make sure you clean out, don't leave any residue or any harmful chemicals behind. Clean it real good and everything inside the tank as well. I produce my own dubia roaches, and I always clean out those tubs as well so they're not living in their frass or their excrement, and they have clean environments, they have access to clean food and all that good stuff, so they're quality feeders for my animals. I was assisting her in trying to keep her energy up. I was giving her slurries by blending like clean water with dandelion greens, dandelion leaf powder, supplements. I'll show you guys here some supplements that if you're keeping bearded dragons that you want to make sure that you're giving them properly and often, but not too often enough. So I kind of have a little repertoire of products that I've been using to try and keep my dragons healthy and try to get them the nutrients because they haven't really been wanting to eat on their own. First we got dandelion leaf powder. This is essentially just ground dandelion leaves, helps cleanse their liver and keep them healthy. Mixes really good with water. So we got some Herptivite multivitamins. I'll use this a couple times a week, sprinkle it on like their roaches, dust their roaches with it, or I'll mix it in a little bit with their slurry. Probiotic powder says to mix 2 or 3 times a week, either with their food or in their slurry. So this stuff is really good for them. Keep it in the fridge so it has a longer life. Helps support the immune system and good gut flora, so definitely really important. So now this is Reptivite. I usually use ReptiCal without D3 because I have mercury vapor bulbs in my reptile tanks. If you're using mercury vapor bulbs, especially with bearded dragons, you want to get calcium without D3. There is such a thing as too much calcium for these guys, so I'll give them the calcium supplement ReptiCal without D3 usually maybe twice a week. But I'll use this stuff for, say, like my leopard gecko or Pac-Man frog that don't require special lighting like the bearded dragons do. So this will definitely help keep them healthy as well. Bee pollen is super good. It's even really good for humans too. So helps with everything, all the natural sources of vitamins and minerals are all in the right proportions, and this stuff will really help take your kind of lethargic sick animal and help bring them back some. You know, they love the stuff. It tastes real sweet, and I don't mind this stuff myself. I like to put this stuff in my smoothies when I make them. If you don't use bee pollen, definitely scoop you up some bee pollen. I really enjoy the Repashy products. They have all different kinds of Repashy. It's essentially like Jello for bearded dragons. This one is Veggie Burger, and I like to make kind of like gummy worms. I have gummy worm molds that I'll make this formula and then pour in the molds and make kind of like worms, so that it kind of mimics like prey that they would want to eat. They probably think it's more worms than vegetables, so this stuff is really great. They actually like it. They love this stuff. The last thing I've been trying recently is this salad dressing for bearded dragons. This is a delicious topping for healthy bones, naturally promotes vivid coloration, strawberry flavored. They really don't like eating just plain salads, so this stuff kind of gives it a little color, a little flavor, and it smells really sweet. Smells kind of like candy. So this stuff is specially formulated for bearded dragons. Here's what it looks like. So if you have a fussy animal, maybe scoop some of this up. It's been working relatively well for me. My female dragon, I've been trying all these different products and supplements and mixing with her slurry, trying to keep her hydration up as best as I could every day, but there was definitely a much larger underlying problem. Like I had mentioned before, she definitely had cancer. Several months ago, I went to a different veterinarian and they took some blood and determined that her calcium and phosphorus levels were really high, and often that's a clear indication that maybe there might be something involving cancer going on. We kind of ruled that out at the time because she was only 4 years old and thought that it's possible, but we'll keep tabs on her and see how her condition progresses. And unfortunately, she made a come around from that vet visit and got her health back in check, but she got sick again, and even worse this time around. Her bones were showing in her face, her limbs, like they just got real skinny. Her skin was really loose, like if you pull the skin off of your dragon and it doesn't retain its elasticity, it just kind of like maintains its shape. That's dehydration, and there's just something else going on with her. Even though I was hydrating her every day, giving her at least 1 cc of water per 100 milligrams of body weight. So she weighed about 400 grams, so I'll give her 4-5 cc's of water every single day, mixed with dandelion powder and dandelion greens. So it's just, she definitely had a tumor growing that would explain why she bloated so much. I was thinking that maybe she's going to lay eggs. Her midsection got real bloated, her tummy real swollen, and thinking, gosh, she must have a lot of eggs in there, but she wasn't displaying the behaviors that female dragons usually do when they're about to lay eggs, which is they'll run around their tank and try and scratch around, lots of scratching, trying to find a nice place where they feel like they can deposit their eggs. But she wasn't displaying those behaviors at all. She would move around a little bit. She would go from her basking spot, then to the cool-in. She wouldn't hardly move around too much at all. She was clearly in some degree of discomfort. Her beard would get black periodically, especially when she was feeling especially miserable. So all I could do was stay on top of the medicines that the doctors had prescribed me and give the appropriate dosages and as frequently as needed, and try to keep her hydration up. But ultimately, in the end, there wasn't anything that I could do to counteract that particular issue, and unfortunately it was just too much for her and she passed away. So now I did get Aussie, my female dragon, at a random pet store 4 years ago before I moved here to Colorado. I didn't know who the breeder was. I just walked into this pet store. They pretty much just had like cat and dog products, but a local breeder, someone must have bred their bearded dragons and brought the babies in there and tried to sell them. So I decided to scoop up another one because I wanted to. I love the bearded dragons. I've had Philo here for 10 years and he's been fantastic for me the whole time. I haven't had really any issues with him up until now in the later part of his life. So I have some medicine here. I'll show you guys here momentarily how we're going to fix his particular issues, get him back on track, maybe get him wanting to eat on his own again. Okay, so here's Philo. He's got a good body weight, good body condition. He's got a nice thick tail. He's not too chunky. He's not underweight. He's doesn't ever really have too much of a black beard these days. Usually when I come home, he'll bob his head and let me know, hey, this is my house. He's the boss here, not me. So, but he's doing good. But like I said, I got Aussie from, like, I don't even know who the breeder was. So my advice to you guys, if you want a bearded dragon, and they're plentiful everywhere you go. It seems like at Petco or PetSmart or chain pet stores, they always have baby bearded dragons. But I would do some research and find a reputable breeder. There's lots of really great breeders out there that really take a lot of time to set them up properly and give them the best beginning chances in life, that you're going to have a healthy dragon to begin with, and one that will hopefully last you maybe 15 plus years. I've heard some might even live up to 20 years potentially if you take care of them really good. So seek out a really good breeder, someone who's going to give you the right pet care and advice, because oftentimes the care sheets that come at like Petco or whatever don't have all the information you need, or maybe outdated information. So seek out good breeders. Always learn as much as you can online too. I'm still to this day been researching and always trying to improve their habitats or better lighting situations, and trying to just promote the best habitat for them so they can thrive and be happy. So I have two different types of medications here for Philo in these bags. The first one we got that I give him, this is Albon. So I give this to him 0.5 milliliters by mouth, oral medication for 5 days every day. Give him a dose of that. And then this next one is Panicure, and I give this 0.8 milliliters by mouth once a week for 3 weeks. So hopefully that'll clear up this guy's parasites, the coccidia. It's pretty common in dragons, but that'll clear him up, get his levels way down, and get him back to hopefully get his appetite back up and get him eating regularly again. So another common sign when you know that something might be going on with your dragon is to check out the tail. Like you'll see here, so I don't know how well you could see it, it's not as bad as it used to be, but the tail, if your dragon's tail, the tip of their tail is discolored, like darker, their tail should be one consistent color. So if the tail is discolored towards the tip, it could either be tail rot, he fortunately doesn't have that issue, or it could be something internal, so like I said with the parasites or something, but that's usually a clear indication that something is going on and you might want to get a vet visit. So, but lately he's been all perked up. He hasn't been like lethargic and just completely laying down. Oftentimes bearded dragons will go into what's called brumation. I'll have to make probably another video detailing that. Every dragon doesn't necessarily brumate. Some might do it more than others, and if they do, sometimes they might go to sleep and seem lethargic, low energy, or not moving at all, completely laying down. They should be all perked up, kind of like a dog stretches in the morning. That's healthy. You know, you want to see them perked up and alert, but sometimes if they're laying completely down, flat, and just kind of sleepy, not moving or anything, they might be in brumation. Happens oftentimes when the temperatures are cooler or certain times of the year they might decide to do it, and it's all totally natural. So, but some of them will do it for like a couple weeks, some of them will do it for a couple months even. So with this guy, I don't think has ever really brumated that much. If he does, he probably will only act real sleepy for like a week or two, and then he'll come out of his cave or whatever situation I have in there for him and get right back to basking. So that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for watching. Hopefully some of these tips were helpful for you, and glad that I could finally figure out what happened with my female dragon, and just know I did everything that I could. Constant vet visits, spent a lot of money, it wasn't cheap, and it really sucks that she's gone now, but that's kind of what it takes if you want bearded dragons. They're cheap initially, they're only not that expensive originally, but over the long run it can add up. So I hope that I could always provide you guys with great information and great tips. So thank you guys for watching, I greatly appreciate you. I post every Friday and Sunday. So today's Sunday, and I hope you guys have a great week. Stay safe out there. Be nice to your mail carriers. We're working hard. And I'll see you guys on Friday, alright? Take it easy. Peace.